Welcome to the THP Strength Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how to become a more glute dominant jumper. Stop laughing. Because the more you can load up your glutes in a jump, the less your knees get loaded. If you pay attention to the best pro dunkers, the best dunkers of all time in the NBA, they are glute dominant jumpers. You think they can jump with tendon pain? No, they wouldn't jump that high if their knees hurt. And their knees don't hurt because they're jumping with their glutes. So, John, how can we become more glute dominant as jumpers? And am I a glute dominant jumper?
I can't even entertain this. I can't even entertain this ridiculousness.
You see how developed?
Yeah, but weren't you? But so didn't you have knee pain and you were working on being a glute dominant?
I've never had knee pain.
Let's just lie to everyone. Okay, so that's a bunch of BS. And I'm just going to go ahead and debunk this absolute fraudulent claim to make sales because it's not true. So first off, if you were a quote-unquote glute dominant jumper who never got knee pain, you probably wouldn't jump very high. Your jump would look something like this. You'd hinge like this. I'm going to stand behind you on this platform. Okay, it's a vlog. So I would look like this. If I were a glute dominant jumper, this is what I would look like. That is glute dominant. No knee activity whatsoever. Just all hip extension. And so it's not a real thing because you recruit muscles based on the activity. So for example, if you're walking downstairs, you can't not use your knees. If you didn't use your knees, then you would just fall, I guess you'd fall over. You'd straight leg, you'd peg leg down the stairs, and that's not a thing. So it's not real. That's probably the biggest myth I've ever heard. So let's talk about some of the claims that you heard and how to become a quote-unquote glute dominant jumper.
Well, the reason this topic even came up is because I was telling John, I was like, you know how many hours I've wasted trying to become a glute dominant jumper? Because that's all I used to hear. And there was this guy, I remember, it was the way you flexed your feet into the ground, activated your glutes.
Is this the GOATA guy?
It's the secret guy.
Secret of athleticism?
Yeah. I didn't even want to say it. I don't
really care.
People are going to go to his page and then drink from the tit.
Don't drink from the tit. Don't drink from the tit.
By the way, guys, if you want the actual secrets of athleticism, we made a 69-page guide, link in the description. Jump technique, strength training, science beyond strength training, plyos, periodization, load management. How to, if your knees do hurt, how to manage that pain in the description. And then if you have the funds, specifically if you have $12.70 in your bank account and a recurring income of at least $100 a month, go to thpstrength.com where you can get coached by our team of expert coaches.
We'll put you in a bucket.
Yeah, a bucket that we feel best suits your needs.
It's more like a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Out of 150 puzzle pieces. Yeah. Or more, maybe more. And if you're your own individual special snowflake, I'll write you your own individual special snowflake cycle. But
yep. You get placed in a group chat. 24/7 access to coaches. You can ask them any questions, jump technique analysis, lifting technique analysis. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm trying to be more in depth in our call to action.
All right. That's what that is, folks.
I'm trying not to half-ass it. We've been half-assing it.
We have. All right, so glute dominant jumpers, not a thing. I think we've debunked that because if that were the case, you wouldn't jump very high and it's not real.
It's made up. Glute dominant.
You can use your hips more, but it's called to have stronger hips and good technique and get more flexion. If you're in more flexion, but you're going to have more activity everywhere. You're going to have more hip activation. You're going to have more quad activation because the activity of the muscles and the motor recruitment in those areas under really high loads is going to be really high. If you're in a lot of flexion, then there's going to be a lot of intramuscular tension.
Who are some more hip dominant jumpers approach-wise?
Yeah, so specifically what you'll notice is they lean forward a lot and they don't bend their knees a lot. That's typically what you're going to see, as I demonstrated. So if you are...
I have a rebuttal. I think they do bend their knees a lot. It's just they bend
more at the hip. Yeah, that's true. So, but me, for example, okay, so they probably don't jump very high if they don't bend their knees a lot. Yeah. That's probably what I would say. Yeah. There's exceptions. Like Justin Darlington was very stiff, like he like pogoed into it, but he's a rare case.
But even him, I get more knee pain when I pogo my jumps.
Yeah,
less knee bend and I
elasticity is
pogo.
like, yeah, because the stiffness is so high. But if you were to have that same stiffness in a deep knee bend, hypothetically, it would hurt, and it would hurt a lot. So yeah, it's the jumpers that come to mind. The first one's CJ. CJ is very, very, very hip dominant when he jumps. And so what you'll see is when they approach, they lean forward a lot because again, the activity determines what muscles are going to be recruited. So if you're leaning forward a lot, like in a back squat or something, you are going to have the moment arm be greater at the hip. So the center of mass is essentially shifted forward away from the joint axis, and that's going to load that joint and the muscles that are, activated at that joint more. So CJ is a good one.
Look up CJ champion dunks.
Who else is like a one that you can think of? I'm kind of hip dominant when I jump.
Isaac White. Look up Isaac White dunks.
That was a pull right there.
That was what?
That was a good pull.
What do you mean pull?
I don't even know who's Isaac White.
Sir
Isaac? Oh, I just know him as Sir Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hip dominant. A lot of guys with really good style tend to be hip dominant.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else is pretty hip dominant. There's not like a ton.
Is Staples?
Staples is pretty hip dominant. Yeah, I would say he's pretty hip dominant. But it's not like when we say hip dominant, it just means that they lean forward and they're gonna in turn use more of their hip because of it. It's still quad dominant though. Jumping will always be quad dominant.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Every 2-foot approach jump is quad dominant.
You just might have slightly more hip than someone else, but your quads at the end of the day are gonna be the driver, and there's no way around that. You could have the strongest hips in the world, but if your knee extensors suck, you're not gonna jump very high because the knee extensors are in way more flexion and they're doing a lot more of the heavy lifting when it comes to actually pushing upwards and generating vertical lift. Especially even off one foot, it's like people say like, oh, it's really hip dominant. I mean, your pelvis does like undulate and oscillate, so it is really important, but your knee and in research, they called it dynamic knee strength in high jump research. That's like the number one indicator of how high you're going to jump is like how hard can you brake and push down and how quick can you do it. So your quads are always going to be a big driver. It's why we squat and do cleans so much and why posterior chain work. It's in the workout, but it's not like, and you're still going to use your hips in that stuff, but we will do specific exercises for knee extension, like leg extensions, where you're not using your hip at all because we understand, and you should understand, your quads are mega, mega important. So is it a thing? No. Does it help your knees is maybe the next question, and I would say no. Like if you're gonna have really, really strong hips, that's like, it's a hypothetical. We don't even know if that's backed. It's definitely not backed in research, and it's probably not statistically significant unless you finesse the numbers and you were to finesse the data. But in my experience, you could have knee pain irrespective of what strategy you pick. It doesn't matter because you're going to use your knees no matter what. So does it fix your knee pain if you're hip dominant? No, it's not going to fix your knee pain if you're hip dominant. That's also a myth. The foot thing, no clue what that's about. I don't even understand that. That's
big
just,
toe. You gotta flex the big toe into the ground, and you feel your glute activate if you have the hyper arc mechanism.
Oh, I don't have that. So that's why I have a 42-inch vertical off one, because I'm not a 50. Yeah. But you don't have it either.
Allegedly. When I was 16, I didn't have it. I might have it now.
Oh. Let's just make up stuff, because that's how you sell stuff. Just make it up. Yeah, so that's fake news.
It just pisses me off how much time I wasted looking into this stuff, bro. Oh, my God.
And you could have been doing
actual training.
Legitimate training that was working. I don't have anything else to add. Do you have anything else that you wanted to ask?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you guys. Ciao.